Welcome back, everybody, to HOA MMA. AJ, how you doing, man?
Bro, it's been a good week. Everything's going to plan. Just taking some time off. The final time off I can get off for the year. It's been busy, but busy in a good way. When you kind of know when you make yourself a plan for the week and you have these things, I want to get everything done. And it's just been hitting good, spending time with friends and family, and been getting back into my movie bag like recently as well. I've been getting through quite a good number of movies. One of them was a movie you've been telling me to watch for years,
Yep.
Leon, which you the way you told me how good it is didn't do justice how much I actually enjoyed the movie. Like
Yeah.
it is one of those ones where if you like your like your thrillers, that's definitely something to go into. Gary Oldman should play villains a lot more because he was killing it in that.
Yeah, Gary Oldman is just absolutely fantastic in that movie. It's a classic. It really is one of the thriller classics. Leon the Professional for some people, if you don't know, just Leon. This is where what's her name? I'm drawing a blank on her name.
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman gets her big start, her big break, or like her big break into movies. She's very young in this movie. It's really fantastic. I'm glad you finally watched it. I'm glad you really enjoyed it. Yeah, that Gary Oldman screaming in that hallway scene is it's really just good stuff. So I'm glad you finally got to watch that. Anything else you watched this week?
I watched The Handmaiden, which is a South Korean film. Again, it just that film like kind of just like blew me away. I've only watched 4 Korean films so far. All of them have been very good. I watched Old Boy, I've watched Parasite, and I've watched A Bittersweet Life. And Handmaiden was the most recent one. Great film. It's very explicit at times, but then it's necessary to also story in which they're trying to tell. It's great. The most recent movie I watched was Burst City, which is a early 80s Japanese film by this director who's he's basically known by a few names. The most common name, the easy name to pronounce, is Shogo Ishii. I watched his first film, which was Crazy Thunder Road. And Bercy is kind of like a continuation of that in a way, in terms of it kind of tackles like biker gangs. It's a bit like Mad Max meets
That's what I thought it was.
Era.
Mad Max.
Yeah, in a way, but it kind of has that kind of like Japanese punk rock element to it, which is kind of big in the 70s with the whole like political like resistant movement going on in terms of like the youth over there. Very crazy in terms of its cinematography. It's more about the style rather than go through like a linear narrative, but it's a very very good movie. It's definitely something if you're into your cyberpunk kind of movie. So if you like like your Blade Runners, your Ghost of the Shells, your Kiras, this film is kind of really like the prototype for that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Nice.
But we're not here to talk about movies, bro. We're here to talk about fights.
Of course.
And we have got a lot to talk about, my guy. A lot to talk about.
AJ, we missed it last week. We got rolling into the conversation. We got deep into. We had a lot to talk about. Let's start off this week with the merger between Bellator and PFL. PFL buys Bellator. Tell us your thoughts on the new company going forward between Bellator and PFL.
I think, considering how Bellator was kind of been on decline over the past couple of like years, even though they do have some like talented guys over there in terms of them as a brand, and if you watch their shows, like if you're someone who watches the UFC a lot and you watch like a Bellator show, like the quality in terms of production, how they market it doesn't really compare. And the PFL has been rising for like a while now. They used to be the world, I think it was the World Series of Fighting, I believe.
Yeah,
like
World Series of Fighting is what it was.
yeah, that's what it was until they obviously had like their rebrand. They're mostly buying Bellator and kind of getting a lot of the talent over there. It kind of makes sense, especially from I guess from this from I guess from the point of Bellator, it kind of saves them from kind of like really getting lost behind in the pack,
Mhm.
and from the PFL point of view, because a lot of people don't know this, they don't have a bantamweight division. So obviously now that they've got Bellator, they've managed to obviously get a massive influx obviously of fighters, and they're able to have a lot more weight divisions as well, which again it's very very beneficial. I like what they're doing. Next year they're going to do champion versus champion to kind of like unify the belts, I guess, in a way under under the new PFL banner. Yeah, like I like it. Like I really really do like it. It will just be interesting to see how the Bellator fighters would get used to fighting in a tournament bracket scenario, unless the PFL kind of just get rid of that and just do a more of a traditional model. I would say. Um, Even with this big move, I don't think it's the big game changer as people think it is. If you're
No.
feeling within the next year they're gonna challenge the UFC, I wouldn't say that. The
No.
UFC are so far ahead, and it's not purely just because of the talent. It's like the way the UFC market themselves as a brand and have the backing of obviously ESPN, like their show production is literally on a whole nother level. I even do feel as well, even with this big move, that I still have one as kind of as a number two in terms of the MMA promotions. It doesn't get as much traction over on this side of the world, in the Western world, because they're so entrenched in the East, even though they are starting to expand, having shows over in the US. But it's a good step in the right direction. It's a good step in the right direction for sure.
Yes. So this all really picked up steam. Probably early this year. I believe PFL got a big investment from the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, I believe is what they're called, like $100 million, and that ended up, parlaying into them buying Bellator. Uh, the way that the PFL owner called it, you're putting the two companies below the UFC together to create something that can compete potentially with the UFC. Um, Based on what he said, if you combine the PFL's roster and the Bellator roster, you now have 30% of the fighters who are ranked in the top 25 in the world by Fight Matrix. That's the same as the UFC. So they're trying to, say they can compete roster wise. It's going to take time. It's going to take I think it's a great business move for PFL, but like you said, I don't know if it doesn't change things overnight. So I'm happy for those guys. They're going to get more media coverage. They're not going to have to dilute each other with PFL or Bellator. It's all going to be in house. Things are definitely going to improve. What is one fight you're looking forward to if you had to pick one? If you could come up with one off the top of your head, now that these two companies have merged.
Ooh. That's a good question, actually.
I mean, is it Ryan Bader versus Francis Ngannou?
No, no, no.
I just wanted
I
to pick
guess
one that would bother you.
I guess an interesting one would be Pitbull against Pacheco. Um,
Yes.
Pacheco is the one who got the crazy upset against Brendan Loughnane earlier
Mhm.
on this year. I'll say them two because he's been on an absolute like tear this year, and obviously Pitbull is still a name, like regardless
Yeah.
of in this last fight against Pettis when he tried to make history by becoming a freeweight champion. He's still Pitbull. And I guess also just because I like the guy, Impa, who just recently became the light heavyweight champion. If you knew in
Mhm.
the UFC, he's the guy who kind of got head kicked by Joaquin Buckley. He's one of the most nicest guys in the sport.
He is. He is a very nice guy.
And considering he moved up in weight to like heavyweight, and he managed to win that tournament, him against Nemkov will be a very, very fun fight. As well, I probably would say those two are probably the fights I'm looking forward to the most.
Those are good picks. I like that pick. That Nemkov for Bellator he's a murderer. That guy. That's one of those guys that I believe could come to the UFC and be very competitive right now. Watching him fight, obviously he's not fighting the same level of guys, night in and night out that the guys in the UFC are, but his skills look like they would translate very well into the UFC.
Extremely well.
Obviously, there's a lot that's going to take place going forward with this merger, acquisition, whatever you want to call it. We'll be here to talk about it as we go. But AJ, this past weekend, we had some pretty important fights. Let's talk about UFC Fight Night, Dariush versus Tsarukyan.
Yeah, Tsarukyan.
I got to tell you, man, Arman Tsarukyan is an asshole, but that guy can back it up. That man is dangerous as dangerous gets. When you were watching the fight, did you think it was the knee that landed? Like originally, before the replay happened, did you think it was a knee?
Nah, because even if you see it in fast motion, you can see him you can see him. He throws the knee up and literally just like a straight right.
Yeah. Like when I first saw it, I don't know if I was like in between doing things, but I thought it was like a straight knee, and I was like, oh my! Like I feel like Benny's head just blew open, but. Actually, after watching the replay, it was absolutely gorgeous. Sets up the straight right with the knee, pulls him in perfectly, bang over top. Arman, that was a fantastic TKO. But let's get into some of the other parts of the card. What on the prelims? What on the prelims what on the prelims caught your attention most?
Those back-to-back slams.
Yeah.
Those back-to-back slam KOs. It's just nuts. Like, I remember the last slam I remember watching was Jordan Levitt, and a slam KO happens roughly around one every 3 years or so. But to get two back-to-back in the same night was insane. Joker closest one was just nasty, man. That was just brutal.
He's nasty. That guy's nasty.
Brutal.
Did you see him call for a rematch with Beni?
Yeah.
It's a good time for it.
It's a good time for it. And I just want to go back to Arman against Beni because I'm not sure if you may not remember, but Umar Nurmagomedov's last fight, his finish was kind of similar to Arman's when he goes up, he throws the knee, and then as the knee comes up and his opponent's head kind of rises up and the chin gets exposed, he throws the straight right, and it kind of mirrored Arman's a little bit. Yes. And to do that so quick in such a fast sequence is just crazy to do.
No,
I wasn't sure if you would obviously remember that, because that was around last year, I believe.
I don't remember it perfectly, but you refreshed my memory with it, and I do recall it now. I also, on the prelims, want to give a shout out to Miesha Tate. You laughed at her. So she got the rear naked choke for the win. She's back in contention. I'm only joking, but I did want to shout out Miesha Tate. Let's jump into the main card. We had Serrano versus Dustin. Dustin gets the rear naked choke.
Mean squeeze.
I mean, he looked really good, really good against Serrano. What were your thoughts on that fight?
He proved me wrong. He's one of a few people who proved me wrong. Literally, because Serrano is so powerful and he's so marauding at times, you kind of need to offset that, and he did that in the best way possible. He managed to grab a hold of him, and when he saw the chance, he literally got the squeeze in, and that was it. I was very impressed, especially if you're going off form. You would have thought Soriano just had a bit more going for him, But Dustin, like he proved me wrong.
Yeah,
Proved me wrong.
he looked really good. I mean, he pretty much dominated that fight. He had the 4 takedowns, the 2 minutes of control. He was really accurate, had the knockdown. I mean, looked really, really good at middleweight. So he's a guy to watch going forward. Clay Guida lost, as you all know. I called that pretty early in the episode last week. Not a lot of resistance from Clay Guida. You know, it's just time. It's just time for it to be over.
How are you going to feel when he ends up on the 300 card on the prelims?
I might cancel my ESPN Plus subscription. Enough's enough. Enough is enough. The high energy bouncing around after you just got a unanimous decision against you has to stop. He looks like he's coked out all the damn time.
Hey, what?
Listen,
man.
If Tony Montana was a UFC fighter, he would bounce around like that. That's how Clay Guida looks. He's that fucking high all the time. I'm glad he lost. I'm ready to move on. Good for Joaquin Silva. Good win. Nice unanimous decision. Should have got him out of there probably, but let's move on because you told me that Kelvin Gastelum could beat Sean Brady, and I told you no fucking chance. No fucking chance.
I put my hands up.
Sean Brady kicked his ass.
He mauled him.
It was really bad. I mean, look, if you just look at the stats alone are shocking. He had 9 minutes of control time, 5 of 5 on takedowns. He landed 97 total strikes to Gastelum's 21. This was an ass kicking. And then he puts in the Kimura in round 3 to win it. Tell me what happened. Tell me what's going on because Kelvin Gastelum might be done.
Sean Brady was first every single time. He never let Kelvin get going. Every time Kelvin was kind of beginning to throw some sort of combination, takedown, trip. The most impressive takedown for me was when Kelvin is starting to open up. Brady counters him with a jab, and it kind of looks like he's basically knocked him down, but no, he's basically gone for the straight, and he's tripped him, and he took him down with ease. And whenever the fight was literally on the ground, he literally dictated how it went. Even the times when I think in round 3 when Kelvin kind of managed to kind of like roll out, Brady was like, cool, like, I'll literally just ride with you, and then I'll literally just change position and just be able to obviously dominate again. It wasn't close. It was an absolute mauling, and that Kimura was nasty. Like when someone gets you like that, you have 2 choices: you tap or your arm, or you're gonna have like a broken arm. He left Kelvin no choice. It's a shame because Kelvin looked good in terms of how he looked at the weight, but to go back in there against someone who's ranked 9th, and I feel like after the fight against Bilal, because it was Bilal, because Bilal kind of like really beat him up, and and he kind of got like mocked for it for the best course of like a year. I think people forgot, and I'll put my hands up, me myself included, forgot how good Sean Brady is, and he just reminded everyone, I'm still viable. Like, he's only 28, 29. So
he's still got an opportunity.
He's still got a lot. He still has a lot left to give. So for anyone at 170, good luck with him, because it's gonna take a really, really good performance to be able to really live with him.
He's really good night for Sean Brady. Tough night for Gastelum. Not sure where he goes next, but Sean Brady's definitely looking to bigger, better things. That's a hell of a win for him. Let's go to the next fight. Rob Font versus Davison Figueiredo.
Figgy Smalls.
Figgy, man. Wow. Good performance from him. Looked good on the takedowns. We mentioned that could be a problem for Rob Font. Looked good on the feet. I think he was, right there with Rob on the feet for most of the fight. What are your thoughts? Davison Figueiredo gets the unanimous decision.
He looks like a new man at 135.
He looks
Clearly,
healthy. He looks
he looked
healthy.
very healthy, and I kind of like what happens most times when someone goes up in weight. If they get someone who's naturally bigger than you, because Rob Font is 5'8", that is a fairly tall bantamweight. Figure look faster, and his power he carries his power well at 135 pounds, because he was digging to Rob Font's body. Like there was a time where like he literally digged into the body. He was clearly pushing Rob back. He looked like Figgy. Like he looked like he looked like the same Figgy when he was champion. I feel like he was a bit happy to fight someone who wasn't Brandon Moreno after facing like 4 times in a row. And I like how he was patient, even at times when in the third round, when like he managed to crack Rob Font and back him up, and he buckled his legs. He didn't go in swarming in. He was very calculated and he was patient. And he also went for a takedown late in the third round just to make sure that I've got this fight in the bag, because it's so easy to go headhunting, and to do it against Rob Font, even though we've seen Rob Font get battered before, but we've never seen him ever get like put away. And Rob Font's dangerous. We saw against Adrian Yanez when Adrian Yanez was trading with Rob and was trying to chase the finish. That's when Rob comes alive, and that's when his jab becomes even more dangerous on the counter. I think he kind of realized that you can tell in his fight camp, like he was watching a lot of tape, and he said, "I'm going to navigate this fight. If the finish comes, I'll go for it. But if the finish doesn't really present itself, I'll navigate. I have enough tools, because he's well rounded, to able to go and navigate the fight." And it was very impressive. Like very impressive to do that against someone as good as Rob Font.
Yeah, totally with you on that. Does that put Figgy in the top 10 for?
He's ranked 7th. I think he's ranked 7th. I think he's 8th or 7th, I believe, right now.
That's awesome. Good for him. I mean, that sets him up for some big time fights. I mean, that's a really important win for him going forward.
A lot of people saying him against Jan, which is a very
shit.
Like,
yes.
It sells itself. You got literally 2 former champions, and Jan is a similar like height wise to Figgy as well.
Yes.
And it'd be interesting to see how Figgy's like marauding pressure style kind of fighting goes against Jan's calculated Muay Thai, and he's just an absolute sniper. That fight right there would be very, very, very interesting to see.
For sure. That sounds fantastic. All right, let's move on to the co-main event. Lightweight, Bobby Green versus Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner just kicked his ass. It wasn't close. I felt bad for Bobby Green when I heard that Jalen Turner was the guy who was stepping in, because I just didn't think Bobby Green could deal with his size and his length, and that literally shone through on this fight. He pieced up Bobby. Was there anything in the fight that you really found surprising?
I did like Bobby Green's initial game plan in terms of going in terms of rushing quick, because again, you're facing against a lightweight who's 6'3", who's just has a crazy length and reach advantage over you. He had to close the distance, and he was darting in and out very, very quick early on, just to kind of see, okay, first of all, am I able to even get in? And am I able to live with trading with him? And he was doing well at first, like in terms of his in and out and darting in. But after halfway through round 1, Jalen Turner kind of really Jalen Turner he did his reads, and he did what every good guy of that height has an advantage does. He was using his length, he was chopping at the leg, he was throwing up kicks, and he made Bobby Green pay every single time Bobby Green darted in. After that point and went into trade, he was making Bobby pay. He was making sure that he was basically landing, and then that finish, literally just like the double jab, rocked him. And I don't know what the ref was doing at that point. I don't know. Like the moment Bobby Green was on the floor and he wasn't moving, that fight could have stopped 4 or 5 punches earlier
Easily,
because
easily.
at that point, Turner is literally just beating on him. Like he's just beating on him. I don't know what
Yeah,
the rest are doing, and that shouldn't take away from a very impressive
right.
win. But
I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the more egregious bad stoppages I've seen in a long time. That's how you get people hurt, really hurt badly. We saw, unfortunately, we had to see Bobby Green go out once and then have to go out twice in
and the
that
second
same
time
little.
was worse because the second time he
Yeah,
was limp. Like he was
exactly. He limped. He went limp down to his face. That was really bad. I know Jalen Turner said he didn't like having to do that to Bobby because he felt him go out and he didn't need to do that, but the ref didn't do his job, so Jalen had to keep doing his. That was really bad. I didn't like to see Bobby take all that extra damage for no reason. He was out. I wonder. Do you think is this Bobby Green's ceiling? Because I feel like Jalen's probably, if he's, in my opinion, he's probably a top 10 fighter at that weight class. He's right in that mix of top 10. Do you think Bobby Green's cutoff is the top 10? Probably.
I probably would say so, but because of it's gonna really depend on how he looks after this, because we see when fighters take unnecessary shots, especially around that age, like Bobby Green is in his like mid to like late 30s now, like to take those unnecessary concussive shots because Jalen Turner hits hard, that could really affect him moving forward. He's still viable, like he's at this point now, Bobby Green is a name, and we already know that 155 pounds is deep in terms of talent.
Yeah.
So there are going to be a lot of fights there for him. He impressed me against Craig Dawson when he literally flatlined him in the first round, who I thought was gonna on his way towards a top 10 and still could be maybe. I'll probably say
Grant Dawson.
Sorry,
Yeah, you're
Grant.
good. Grant Dawson.
Craig Dawson is a footballer. I would probably say probably around that 11 to 15 right now is probably gonna be Bobby Green's kind of like bubble.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the guy. He's made it a lot farther than I thought he would make it with what I've seen his skills are. Do you think after some time off, him and Hooker get rematched, or do you think Hooker moves on to something better?
Hooker moves on because
he can't go backwards when he beat Jalen Turner and Jalen Turner beat Bobby. Is that your logic?
Yeah, and knowing kind of getting an idea of the kind of guy Dan Hooker is based on seeing him in his interviews and him as a person in terms of how he kind of portrays himself. The moment Dan Hooker kind of gets injury free, he wants to go out there. He's probably going to want to go out there and fight as soon as possible. Bobby Green's probably going to be on concussion protocol, so he is probably going to be out. Kind of be out for like a while, so I could see Dan Hooker probably fighting someone else within the low half, within the top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no, that's a good call by you. Let's just touch back on the main event one more time. Beni Dariush gets TKO'd by Arman. Tsarukyan absolutely got demolished. We mentioned how it happened, all that already. What do you think's next for Beni? This is two bad KOs in a row. What are your thoughts on Beni going forward?
I did like how Beni came out aggressive in the early on. Like he was literally throwing a lot of leg kicks. He was trying to really slow down Arman because, as we saw, Arman was just way faster. He was way quicker. He came up very aggressive. He was pushing Arman back. He was throwing a lot of head kicks, a lot of body kicks, a lot of leg kicks. Like his game plan in principle looked good. It looked good until the first time Arman really goes out there and pushes forward. He literally just smokes him like that crazy. He grabs him, he throws out the knee, and that can go two ways. If that knee lands, great. If it doesn't, it's gonna bring him the chin back up, like I said. And Arman he's already got it in his mind. okay, if Benny pulls back and his chin's up in the air, I am gonna go and throw. I'm gonna go and throw that straight right. And Benny doesn't see that coming. He gets put out.
Yeah,
Um, to lose against Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira back to back is nothing really to laugh about because these guys are elite. Like these guys are elite comp. Unfortunately, because Benny probably isn't the most marketable name. Like
yeah,
if we're being honest, he's probably gonna find himself having to defend his ranking a lot, and he's gonna have to face against all these up and coming killers at 155 pounds.
hmm
Don't get me wrong, he's still dangerous. You saw this against Gamrot last year. Like if you're not really switched on, Benny can easily just like take you to school, but but to go out like that, that kind of KO can really that can that could potentially be mark the beginning of his decline, considering
right,
he's 34 as well. But we're gonna have to see how he looks in his next fight. But I'm gonna feel bad for him because regardless what happens next, he's gonna face against a killer next. Like literally just
for sure.
regardless.
Yep, totally agree. I hope he can bounce back. This, like you said, this could be the beginning of the end for his run at the top. Uh, AJ, I think we did a good job covering that. Let's move on to this weekend's fight night. We've got Song versus Gutierrez. That's a really cool fight. I'm interested to see what you think here down the line. But let's start off. What on the undercard caught your eye here? Because there's a lot of young, not as not as well known fighters on this card. Give us the fight you want to see and what you're looking forward to on this fight card.
That is a no-brainer for me. It's Tussira Tyra, the undefeated 14
Yes.
and 0 flyweight. I am a big fan of him. I'm just a huge fan of him. He is a elite grappler. Like
Well,
he is.
we watched the Bonder fight, didn't we?
Yes, yes, we did.
Yeah.
He is a elite grappler. I have him and Momakev. I rate both of them very, very highly, and both undefeated guys. Mo's kind of a bit further ahead. Tyra was actually meant to get a top 15 opponent as well recently. I think it was Dobrev, but I think that fight fell through a couple of months ago. He's facing against a guy who is in really good form. He's 4-1 in his
Yeah.
last five, 9-2. Hernandez, I believe his name is, and
Yep.
he also has 4 subs as well. And we've seen, as good as Tyra is, he got pretty reckless in his last
Yes, he
fight.
did.
He got pretty reckless, but he was lucky enough that he was talented enough to kind of get himself out of those positions.
What was that against
Um,
Edgar Charez? Is that?
yeah, yeah,
Sorry, when I said we watched the last fight, I meant we watched Carlos Hernandez's last fight against Bonder, but we also
yeah.
watched Tara's last fight
That's
too.
right.
Sorry, I was trying to,
That's
but I just
okay.
wanted to make sure everybody knew what we were talking about. But
Yeah,
yeah, he almost got caught against Charez, but he was able to get out and continue that
yeah.
win streak. Obviously,
Considering he's only 23, I'm hoping that he's kind of learned to really hone in on his hands. Because really, no, like in terms of his grappling and his jiu-jitsu, it's top
Mhm.
notch. It is literally
Yes.
up there with the best in the flyweight division already. I'm just hoping that he's been working on his striking, because if someone's able to kind of keep him on the feet, he can find himself in trouble. Even though he's quite strong, for like a flyweight as well. And for someone who is kind of based in Japan, when you're near Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, you're near all of these places where you can really find good kickboxing coaches to kind of work with you. And in Japan as well, like they have an amazing crop of like boxers right now as well. Like you've got Jonto Nakatani and Inoue who are kind of like up there. I would just like to think that if he's managed to learn from the mistakes he made last fight, he should go out there and make a statement, because as far as I'm aware, Hernandez hasn't actually been submitted yet. I believe. So
Yes.
if he goes out there and goes up to 15 and makes and kind of makes a statement, 2024 should be his when he goes out there and makes a push to become a top ranked contender. And that fight alone is definitely one I'm going to keep my eye on because he's very impressive. He's very impressive, and he's only 23, so
Yep.
a lot of potential there.
Good call. Yep. So obviously a lot of talent on the prelims. Just people we're getting accustomed to, people we're getting to know. Glad you shouted out that fight. That is a good fight. Let's jump into the main card. Junyong Park versus Andre Muniz. Park is the guy they call the turtle, right?
The Iron Turtle.
The Iron Turtle. That guy's fun as hell to watch.
Oh yeah, boy, his last fight was
Amazing.
Pure entertainment, man.
Yeah, he had the submission against Dariush.
Yeah.
This guy is. I really enjoy watching him fight. He's got Andre Muniz. Muniz dangerous in his own right. How do you see this fight going down?
Muniz is going to be in trouble, I believe, purely because it's kind of be the same as the Paul Craig fight when he's against someone who is competent on the ground and can compete with him. He's going to be in trouble. You are frozen up.
Oh, I'm still here. You're good.
Okay, it's just froze. Like literally, my whole screen's just gone frozen. But yeah, when Muniz is facing someone who can kind of compete with him on the ground, he gets in trouble. And Park has better hands than him, and Park's tough. Like he can go out there and he can take a beating. There's a reason he's called the Iron Turtle. Like
right,
he will literally just grind away, and he can take a lot of punishment. Muniz is going to have to dominate the grappling. He's gonna have to be the better grappler and be able to get in those advantageous positions and dominate. Because if he isn't, Park is going to wear him out. And it might be similar to Paul Craig when Park eventually just kind of batters him, wears him down, and when he eventually gets him down, he can either go for a submission, which would be crazy to do against someone that good, or ground and pound. I'm gonna go for ground and pound TKO in the second round for Park. On that,
know what? I'm piggybacking off of that. Give me the Iron Turtle to win this one. I'm gonna go with a submission though. I think he submits him. His last 3 wins are all by submission. I think he keeps it going. Give me a submission win for Park, the Iron Turtle.
That would be a statement. I
really like this guy. I love the Iron Turtle nickname. I'm all in. I'm all in. The All-American Tim Elliott versus Sumu Dariji.
Sumudaji, I think.
Yep, there you go. Thank you for the pronunciation.
No worries.
This is interesting. Tim Elliott continues his good form. I know he ran into Mo last time, and he got subbed out, but he looked good in that fight, in my opinion, before he got subbed. Another tough fight for him tonight. How do you see this fight going down?
Tim Elliott's coming as a last-minute replacement, which I kind of like for him. You know, after kind of being on a really good win streak for him, only losing against elite comp, and he lost against Mo, which if we're being honest isn't a bad thing at all, because
not at all.
Because so far no one has been able to find an answer for Mo, and Mo's looking like a future champion potentially. Like that's how high a lot of people rate him, and that's kind of my personal opinion as well. Sumudachi's last fight was against Matt Schnell, and he looked good until Matt Schnell flipped it on his head with one of the most craziest rally combat wins I've seen in a long time, and he got battered. That being said, Sue is quite a long flyweight. He's very tall.
He's 72-inch reach. He's got 6-inch reach advantage on Tim Elliott.
And when he is switched on, he's very, very dangerous. Do I feel like he's able to beat someone as savvy as Tim Elliott?
Yeah.
I think he will.
Okay.
I think he will. I just have a feeling he'll just be able to keep Tim Elliott at bay. If Tim Elliott's gonna win, he's gonna have to do what Matt Schnell did. He's gonna have to take him down and beat him up. I just have a feeling that Sumadachi is probably gonna bounce back and be able to and just be able to pick Tim off and navigate a decision.
Okay. Okay. Well, like you've said on here quite a bit, we've seen a lot of the old guard stand tall in matchups like this. I'm going to support that. I'm going to get Tim Elliott. I'm going to get him a win here. I'm going to go by decision. I think he's able to take him down. I think he's able to beat him up on the ground. I think he's able to control him on the ground. Give me Tim Elliott to win this fight by decision.
Nice.
All right. We got Jamie Malarkey fighting Nasrat Hakparazit. What do we got here? Light in the lightweight division. What do we got here, AJ?
Fight the night potential. This is going to be a barn burner. Both these guys love to throw down, and I like this fight for them at this point because both of them are coming off wins after coming off very heavy losing streaks. Nasrat losses have been against Dan Hooker and it was someone else who was like a high level lightweight, I believe. I can't remember.
He lost to Bobby Green and Dan Hooker.
He lost to Bobby Green and Dan Hooker, which we've seen in recent showings. It's nothing to really talk really bad on. Jamie Lali's bounced back after some quite heavy losses recently. Jamie Malarkey has the reach, and I also feel like Nasrat probably has a bit more power in, but is he going to be able to be able to close the distance to really go and actually put actual damage on Jamie? Is Jamie able to time and use his length to kind of really counter off that? I feel like this one is going to be a barn burner. I've got Nasrat winning. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to finish him or he's able to edge him out in a good old slugfest, but it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be that there is my fight of the night underdog, like my sleeper.
Gotcha. Okay. I like that pick. I'm going to go with Jamie Malarkey. I like the fact that he can threaten the takedown and he has that ability. And I think that could give him an edge in the stand up is if he's able to throw in those faint fake shots, things like that can keep Nasrat maybe on his back foot. I think some of that will be able to help him. Give me Jamie to get the win here. I don't know if it goes the distance, but I think, give me Jamie to win this one. Okay, next fight. Our guy, Anthony Lionheart Smith.
He's in trouble.
Versus Khalil Roundtree.
He's in trouble with this
one. Give me Anthony Smith by submission.
He's in trouble, man. I'm telling you this now. He's in trouble with this.
He's been in trouble in every fight he's fought for the past 10 years.
He's also fighting the most violent light heavyweight on current form right now.
I agree.
Roundtree is brutal. Smith is gonna have to tire him out. He's gonna have to take him down. He's gonna have to wear him out. If it stays on the feet and he allows Roundtree to kind of push him back, he's gonna be in a lot of trouble because his leg kicks are hellacious. And we saw against Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker chopped at Smith's leg and chewed it up. Oblique kicks, like Roundtree will do all of that. His elbows, and once Roundtree gets you hurt, he's like a shark that literally smells blood. He will literally just go all out to put you out in the most brutal fashion possible. And Smith hasn't looked good in a while. He hasn't looked good in a while, and Roundtree is in really, really good form. I have a bad feeling that Smith is going to get put out in the first round, but if it goes past round 2, I have a feeling that Smith will do enough to navigate it, but I just don't see that happening right now. I feel like Khalil Roundtree gets his biggest win and makes his little splash into the top 10.
Nice. Okay. I like it. I like it. But that doesn't change the fact that Anthony Smith's going to sub him. Should be a fun fight. I look forward to it. I still support Anthony, but I would not be surprised if Khalil knocks him out. That wouldn't.
He just
surprise
needs to
me in the
make sure he
slightest.
comes out to Return of the Mac this time. He just needs to make sure. He needs to make sure he comes out to that. That's one of the best walkout songs ever.
So totally agree with you there. Cannot argue those facts. Next fight is the main event: Song Yadong versus Chris Gutierrez. AJ, how does Chris Gutierrez pull the upset here?
Knees and elbows. He's gonna have to really, really hurt Song. He's gonna have to push back Song. He's gonna have to make Song respect his power. El Guapo's good. Like El Guapo's good and he's dangerous. People just think, oh, he's ranked 15th and he lost against Pedro Munoz, who Pedro Munoz is literally a tough out. There's a reason why only elite people get past Pedro or Pedro. Yeah, like he's kind of route to victory that he's gonna have to tire Song out and he's gonna have to push him back and he's gonna have to hurt him. He's gonna have to rock him. But Song Yadong is special. Like his last fight against Ricky Simone, he put in an absolute masterpiece, an absolute clinic. Like he's quick, he's calculated. He has incredible shot selection, and he has cardio because he beat up Ricky Simone over 5 rounds, and he's shown as well that he can be patient. This is someone who started MMA at a very, very young age and turned pro very young, and he's still only 25, I believe, 25, 26.
He's 26.
26. His loss against Corey Sandhagen kind of really showed him, okay, this is basically what the elite level bantamweight looks like, and he only lost because he had a horrible cut. Before that cut, he was holding his own against Corey, and we know how much I rate Corey Sandhagen, like we both do.
I mean, Corey was winning, but
Corey, yeah, he was winning, but Song in that first round, he was literally right there with him. He was right there with him until the fight until Corey came on and the fight got away with him. Yeah.
I mean, you're picking Song Yadong, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if you had ways for Chris Gutierrez to win.
Don't honestly get me wrong. 135 pounds is one of the best divisions out there, and Gutierrez is ranked on merit, and he's dangerous. Like he's dangerous. Sure. Like if he has one of the most hellacious knees and elbows you can see out there. I just believe that Song is that good. And he is going, and he kind of looks like someone who is either going to win the belt or at least compete for the belt one day. He's also very rounded. Him training at Team Alpha Male for obviously so long is kind of made guys really struggle trying to take him down as well. I see Song putting on another clinic. I see something on another clinic and really showing everyone that, you know, within that top 5 at 135 pounds, he's going to be right up there eventually. Yeah. But he's going to have to be switched on because Gutierrez is very dangerous. He's very, very dangerous. So if Song basically turns up, it's probably going to it looked like it could be an absolute clinic. If he's anything less than 80%, Gutierrez has a chance. Okay. He has a chance.
But I'm with you on that.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
Give me Song Yadong to win this one also. This will be back-to-back main event wins for him. So he's really like getting right back into form of fighting guys like Corey Sandhagen. So, give me Song Yadong to win this one also. Uber talented.
And he's also going to want to make a point because this fight call, I believe, was potentially going to be in Shanghai, and that was going to be like his big coming out party as well. There's a reason why there is a lot of Asian fighters on this card. Why it got moved to the Apex, I'm not sure. So he's probably want to really go out there and really put on a show to kind of really announce himself again, like you said, to have back-to-back main cards, like main events, regardless if it's within the Apex. There's a reason
Oh
why.
no,
There's a
he's still a
reason
main
why. Like
event.
if you're literally main eventing like a fight card back to back, and you get two impressive like wins, that's gonna put you on. Okay, now we can put you against a top 5 guy. We're gonna put you on a main card in front of crowds or on a pay-per-view event. This is literally Song's chance to go out there and to really put himself on the map.
For sure. Totally agree with you on that. Big night, big night for Song Yadong. A lot of good fights on this card. Pretty loaded fight night card. AJ, we summed up the fights. Do you have anything else for us before we get out of here tonight?
Yes, if you love your boxing, there's a big fight this weekend. Devin Haney is back. He's moving up in weight. He was the undisputed lightweight champion at 135 pounds in boxing, not to confuse with the bantamweights in MMA. He's moving up to 140 in super lightweight or light welterweight, depending on how you want to pronounce it, against Regis Prograis for his WBC belt, I believe. Prograis has only lost once against Josh Taylor, who was the former undisputed champion in that weight class. This fight is going to be a good one. This fight is going to be a great fight because we've got Devin Haney, who is his wizard of a technician. Great jab, great, really good movement. He really gets rocked. Prograis comes out to fight. He's good everywhere, but he comes out to fight. And these are two high-level fighters. Again, if you love your boxing, so if you love your combat sports, you can watch this fight night Song Yadong against obviously against Gutierrez, and then right after you can just put on the boxing and enjoy elite level boxing. So it's definitely something to go and look out for.
Big weekend for combat sports. Yeah, I mean, without there being a pay-per-view, this is a pretty stacked weekend overall. So definitely going to be a fun weekend. AJ, as always, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being
too,
here.
brother.
I'm glad we got another episode in the can. I will see you next week when we really get into another pay-per-view card. We'll recap this. And, whatever else happens in the ever-changing world of mixed martial arts. Guys, this has been HOA MMA. See you next week.